and recently that the Court of Appeal will be taking a look at killer cop Wayne Couzens' sentence for his atrocious act against poor Sarah Everard. Along with Couzens appealing his sentence, there are some others that were heard yesterday at the Court of Appeal for other murders. Couzens was given a whole life sentence for his crime, a crime I don't think that I can or want to repeat again, but he felt it was a little unfair that he got a whole life sentence for murder in such a despicable manner whilst using his position as a police officer to perpetrate it. The Court of Appeal was heard by 5 judges who considered how whole life orders are imposed on those found guilty of the most heinous crimes. At Couzens' sentencing, Lord Justice Fulford said the circumstances of the case were devastating, tragic and wholly brutal, and were so exceptional that it warranted a whole life order. And that was the very first time a whole life order has been imposed on a person for a single murder of an adult that wasn't committed in the course of a terrorist attack. Others whose sentences were reviewed include Emma Tustin and Thomas Hughes. I probably don't need to say what they did, but some of you may not know who they are. Emma Tustin and Thomas Hughes are the killers of poor Arthur, the 6-year-old lad killed by his stepmother after she and Thomas inflicted a cruel and systemic campaign of cruelty against the poor kid. On a lighter note, however, Emma Tustin has just tried to kill herself whilst in jail. Now, although she failed, it now makes her more prone to doing it again, so fingers crossed. Sentences were reviewed under the unduly lenient sentence scheme rather than being excessive. The hearing over these sentences and others were put before Lord Chief Justice Lord Burnett, Dame Victoria Sharp, Lord Justice Holroyd, Mr Justice Sweeney and Mr Justice Johnson. Now, although the judge's decision won't be made until a later date, we do have some information from inside the court. For example, Jim Sturman QC, acting in defence for Couzens, told the court, Mr Couzens accepts that his crimes are abhorrent and nothing I say in any way is intended to minimise them or to minimise the impact of these crimes on Sarah Everard's family and huge circle of friends. He said it was accepted that Couzens deserves decades in jail, but argued a whole life term was excessive, adding that a combination of his remorse and his guilty pleas should balance out that aggravating factor which clearly exists of him being a police officer, albeit off duty in half uniform. A lot of very unique and very horrible cases come before the court, but in our respectful submission, the court should think long and hard and step back from a whole life order in this case. Tom Little QC, representing the Attorney General's Office and the Crown Prosecution Service, said that Couzens' offending was of the utmost seriousness, adding his criminality was, as found by the judge, a fundamental attack in reality on our democratic way of life. A police officer is in a uniquely powerful position, adding that the sentencing judge had provided a clear and coherent justification for the sentence that he imposed, and that the judge was entitled to form the view that he did in relation to the lack of genuine contrition, concluding that the whole life order was the right sentence to impose in this wholly exceptional case. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think anyone disagrees with that. Now, with regards to little Arthur's murderer, his stepmum Emma Tustin and father Thomas Hughes. Tustin was jailed for life with a minimum term of 29 years and Hughes was sentenced to 21 years for manslaughter. He's appealed against the length of their sentence, which are also being challenged as being unduly lenient. Tom Little QC said Tustin's case merited at the very least consideration of a whole life order. This was, we accept, not a straightforward sentencing exercise. The trial was plainly a harrowing one for all concerned, adding that Arthur was subjected to the most unimaginable suffering, and that this was an extremely serious example of child murder against the background of that cruelty. Mary Pryor QC for Tustin, Arthur's stepmother, said the sentencing judge took a fair and proper approach in this very difficult case, which sounds to me like they are not actually wanting to appeal the sentence that she received. But Bernard Richmond QC for Hughes argued that a judge fell into error and was almost treble counting when calculating his sentence. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what he means by that, but yet I don't think that 21 years for abusing a child until their death and being complicit in the death at the hands of your wife is in any way too excessive. Now, I know what most of you will say is the best punishment for these kinds of people, but nevertheless, let me know what you think in the comments and perhaps give me your predictions as to what you think the judges might do. Big thank you to channel supporters, especially these guys. Your support is truly appreciated. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.